In our previous video, which went out as a live, we went through all of this information, telling you all about the AI newsletter that we are giving away. That giveaway has very, very nearly ended. So if you're interested in getting that and winning it, then all you got to go is go down to the description, click the link, and then you'll be able to enter that giveaway. It is completely free. In this video, I want to finish off with this document, just going through these last three things here: segmentation, surveys, and custom fields. The whole point of this series is to help you figure out whether you need to move on to the scale plan on Beehiiv or whether you want to stay on the launch plan. If you pay yearly, this is going to cost you $34 a month. As you grow and you get more subscribers, it is going to cost you more. So moving on from the launch plan, which is free, to the scale plan, needs to be done at the right time. So what we're going to focus on today, as I said, is this idea of segmented sends, surveys, custom fields, helping you work out exactly what you need. Now, I'm going to kind of ruin the rest of my video right here now and say that unless you are doing some advanced features on your newsletter, you don't need to do these things in order to be able to launch your newsletter. They are useful as you start to understand these softwares in more detail. When we take on a new client, they want to start a newsletter, we do not talk about these things straight away. We need them to understand the newsletter business first and then get on to these ideas. They are more advanced concepts, but it's worth understanding what they are at a basic levels, because the whole point of this series, as I said, is to work out when you want to start paying for Beehiiv, when you want to start doing these more high level things, so that even if you are at the 1,000 subscriber mark, you can work out if it is worth paying for or not. By the way, if you do want to get Beehiiv, there is a link down in the description. So I'm going to go through these really quickly. I will show you where they are within the Beehiiv platform, but I'm not going to go through them in an absolute ton of detail. So the first thing we're going to talk about is segmentation. Segmentation, very simply, is where we organize subscribers based on their activity or attributes. So we can organize them based on where they live, their location. We can organize them based on where they found us, where they came from. So if that was Facebook or Instagram, we can organize them whether they opt into certain things. So maybe they raised their hand and said they were interested in a free workshop or free series. We can then segment them to send them off into a separate email series using automations, which I talked about in the previous video, so that they can receive that series. There's tons that you can do with this. You can do static, dynamic, or manual segments. This kind of means like a static is like we're not going to change the rules again. So we're going to, anyone from this location goes into this segment, and therefore that never changes. Those settings that never changes. So for example, that might be somebody, a group of people from a particular campaign or that raise their hand for a particular course. Dynamic is where you're going to keep adding people in. So this might be something based around location, and then you can have manual settings as well. We can have specific conditions based on subscriber data for precise targeting. So this is data that they might give us. So that might be interest in sports or a particular skill that they have. We can then view engagement. We can export these lists. We can then send targeted emails and apply tags to these people, so that we can serve them better and we can understand our audience better. What I'll do now is I will show you exactly where segmentation is. So we go into audience. Okay, this is the dashboard of the newsletter that we're giving away. And if you want to learn more about it, this is its name, Eat More Tech, then you can watch our previous video. Okay, but to find segmentation, all you need to do is go into audience and you hit segments. Once you're in here, you're able to create new segments. You just click this button here and you'll be able to create a segment. As you can see, you put the name, the description. Name has to be in there. Description is more for you. You click on these buttons, you define the conditions, and then you're away. So you can see here, I've created this example segment for you just a few minutes ago, just to show you. This is my Facebook segment. So this is anybody that has come from Facebook. Maybe I had a particular campaign, something like that. And I've collected all those people there. And now what that means is I can send emails out to this particular segment of my audience based on this group that have come over from Facebook. As I said, we can design these set them up for all different types of things, and then you can email out to particular groups of your audience based on where they live, maybe where they work, what they're interested in, or if they raise their hand for a particular offer, or they completed a particular piece of training, or something like that. As we said here, we can roll segments into automations, trigger actions based on their activity. Now, the next natural question is, okay, but how on earth do I get this information? And one of the best ways to get this information is actually with a survey. Now, surveys, if I go back to the pricing, you can see here they are in the paid plan, okay, the scale plan. And this is one of the first things that I would be thinking about, I would want to get hold of from the paid plan, because by having a survey, I'm going to start learning more about my audience. So this is basically a customizable questionnaire that I can collect information. But not only that, I can then store that information within Beehiiv. So if I have a survey that says, what is your location? And somebody puts the UK, I can then put that information into a custom field. That's kind of saving that information that goes alongside the person's email address, where they have come from, because Beehiiv will be able to track that. And then what that means is I can then use that information in order to segment my audience. So these surveys, you can build them, and I'll show you where now within Beehiiv, and we can collect that information. Now we can have loads of different types of surveys. So we can have our sort of welcome survey, which is the survey we set up when somebody first signs up to Beehiiv, so they submit their email address. If we're using the boost feature, which again I've been through in this video series, they'll see that, and then they'll see our survey. We can collect first name, location, interests, all those kind of things within this survey. And then, as we saw previously in segments, we can then email these people separately if we want to. What we can also do is we can automate follow-up reminders. So if somebody doesn't complete the survey, we can remind them to do that. And you can do that within an automation, which again, I've also been through in this series. So to show you where surveys are, again, we go into audience and we go down here into the surveys tab. And this is where you can set up a survey. So it works very similar. Again, we click on create survey and up it comes. Now, this title is going to be seen in your email, and so is the description. So these are for your audience to see. You then have the CTA text, which is the button that the person is going to click. And then you can have a thank you message as well. So once you've done all of that, you then go over to the form builder, and this is where you're going to build out your form that somebody is going to complete. So we're going to click on the add the first question. The title is the question name. We then put the response in, and then this is the custom field. Now, if you've already set up custom fields, this will appear in the drop down, so you can see I've already done one, and I'll get to custom fields in a second. Or you can create a brand new custom field if you don't already have that set up. And what you can do is you can just go through the process and you can add several questions. For those of you that have already seen the automations video, the workflow is incredibly similar. So what you'll have then is a survey set up. As you can see, I set this one up as an example just before creating this video. And then what you can do is you can go through, you can duplicate it, you can edit it. And that will be your survey that you have set up. And then, as I said, you can allocate this to be your welcome survey, but you can set surveys up for all sorts of things. So you can have surveys going out within your newsletters. So for example, if you've got a launch coming up, or you want to get some feedback on a product, maybe you're at that sort of 500 subscribers point, and you want to try and find out what your audience is interested in so that you can design a product for them, or find a better affiliate offer or a better product that you want to promote, then surveys are brilliant for that, and you can put it inside your email. Like I said, I'm not going to go through all of this now because we're just giving you an overview. Okay, so that's all the great things about surveys. Now, I did say I'd finish off by talking about custom fields, which we did just have a little look at. Now, the nice thing about custom fields is we can tag these responses that we can get in our survey. We can then get them saved into a custom field, and then we can use those custom fields. So we can tag these user-generated responses or information, so it can be used in emails or segments or automations. And the easiest one for us to understand It's that survey where we collect somebody's first name and then we put that into a response. Okay, so if I take a look at this welcome survey, you can see I've asked what is your first name, and I've assigned it to the first name custom field, and then we have an open response here where people can type in their first name, and I can make it required as well so that everybody has to answer it. So we have that little star next to it, so everybody has to fill it out. Okay, so that is what's going to go in my welcome survey. Okay, I can then publish that if I want to, if I'm ready for it, and then it will go out there and people will be able to see it. And then once I've made it live, what I can do is I can either copy the URL and I can put that into my newsletter, or I can enable it as my subscriber survey, which means it will come right at the beginning after somebody puts their email in, then this thing will pop up. But as you saw in here, we had that tag for the custom field. So in order to be able to set that up beforehand, then we can do that inside Beehiiv. So to do that, it's not quite as obvious as where it is. We need to come down into subscriber data. Then what you can see here is we've got two options. We've got custom fields and we've got tags. Again, if I want to create a new custom field, all I've got to do is click over here and I'll be able to do that. I can name it. So I could go for last name, and then I can select the data option. Now this is the kind of data that somebody is going to give me. So when it comes to my last name, it's just going to be a text response. Somebody's just going to give me a name. So it's going to be typed in, but then you can have all of these other options as well if you want to. And then I hit save and I've created my custom field. And then all I need to do is I assign that custom field when I am doing my surveys. Okay, so when I go into my surveys, as you saw, I can save that information in a custom field. And then what will happen is that that particular response will be saved with that user's information along with their email and everything like that. What we can also do is we can tag subscribers. So we can tag them with certain information. And again, we can add a new tag if we want to. So for example, we can decide if they're a free subscriber, a premium subscriber. We could tag them with maybe that they are within one of our courses or something like that. So we can create a new tag, and then we can put subscriber emails in here. So you can see add subscribers you want to add to this tag with separate emails or a comma. And then we would be able to set up a particular tag. So if we have some information from outside of Beehiiv and we want to tag users with that particular information, then we can do that. So maybe they came in through a certain campaign, maybe we're adding them manually from somewhere else, then we can put that information in there. Maybe they took part in a giveaway or something like that. So as I said, this is all about understanding your audience better, being able to get information from your audience and therefore be able to make better decisions. This is not something that you're going to worry about when you start off with your newsletter straight away, but hopefully now you can make better decisions about exactly when these would be very, very useful tools for you. Remember that giveaway, you've got very, very little bit of time if you want to enter that, and hopefully this was useful to help you figure out when exactly you want to pay for Beehiiv or any other type of software, because they all offer very similar things in order for you to be able to start your newsletter business.